Romance novels have basically always been a hit, and most of the people who buy them are women. Now, why is that? You know, women have this fantasy of the perfect man, and whether or not that is possible is not for me to say. But the sure thing is, they want it, or else why would they buy romance novels? Why would they watch so-called chick flicks? Or why would they even fantasize about that perfect man? Of course, each woman has in her own psyche a unique perfect man, suited to her. But there is such a thing as the general concept of the perfect man, who individuates itself in many particular men. Now, what is that perfect man? And why would you, as a man, want to be that kind of guy? Wouldn't it be far easier to just be hot and good looking and trendy and go out there and seduce as many women as you want and sleep with each and every one of them? Isn't that the good life? Isn't that the life of pleasure that we all aspire to? And aren't you a bit of a pussy if you're trying to be that superhero Don Quixote instead of that charming Don Juan? Well, society puts immense pressure both on guys and girls. Guys are taught to be macho and to be individualistic and to be highly competitive if they want to survive in the meat market. And girls, well, the popular stereotype of the girl. She has to be with her boobs out and she has to wear lots of makeup, and maybe be a little bit trashy. But now new trends have arisen, and there is this girl power movement, and girls have started to say, okay, you don't need to show off a lot of skin, you can be classy or you can be elegant, and you can incite a man just by your intelligence and not your body. The main problem still remains. Guys are looking for the perfect girl, and girls are looking for the perfect guy. So I'm coming back. What is the perfect guy? Well, we've all heard about Freud's theory that basically each girl looks for her daddy. Is that true or isn't it? What does your experience say? Me for one, well, I saw that most of that is true, but not maybe in the sense we would all think about it. Of course, girls wish that their ideal man would seem like their daddy. If their daddy was careful with them, if their daddy, was caring and he brought her lots of gifts, let's say, well then she developed that love language, and she would hope that her loved one will indeed communicate with her using the same ways. Or maybe it's some sort of the opposite. Maybe her daddy refused her attention, or let's say he was a little bit abusive, and then she wants her lover to be in contrast with that. Maybe she will crave lots of affection, or maybe she will want him to be really, really careful and considerate about her feelings. Now, why would you, as a guy, want to go through all of that pain? Because what do you get in return, right? Why should you do it? Is there a force, is there a deep drive within you that compels you to be that sort of man? Do you feel good about being that sort of man? Or are you secretly trying to get something out of it? Maybe if you're nice to her, then she's nice to you. One hand rubs the other and both wash the face. We think of being that perfect guy, we think of being that knight in shining armor, not as a thing to be desired, but as being a wimp, or as being a wussy. We don't think of monogamy as being cool. We think of it as being old-fashioned. We think of it as being for wimps. But I'm here to tell you otherwise. And you can make all the fun of me you want, but I'm here to tell you otherwise. The main characteristic of a father is that if he has a girl, that girl is daddy's little girl. And when I'm telling little, she's by no means, belittled. She is daddy's little queen. She is daddy's most prized treasure. She receives a whole lot of attention from him. He invests in her and she doesn't have to beg. Daddy is actually glad to invest in her. Basically, after mommy, daddy's little girl is the only woman and maybe even the most important woman in daddy's life. And that goes the same with the girl. The guy. For a guy to be a man, well, he has to let go of mommy. He can't be a man for his wife or for his girlfriend and still be under mommy's skirt. He just can't. He has to let go of mommy and he has to strike out on his own. Now once you do that, you can devote your whole attention to a specific woman, or you can go and give your attention to multiple women. And I'm not saying you shouldn't have friends, you shouldn't have female friends, because typically a male will have some few very close male friends, but his outer circle of friends will be composed of mainly women. But in your love life, what the girl expects from you is to be as caring and as giving and as attentive as her ideal father would have been. She wants to be your number one, and there is no way around that. You have to be a giver. If you're not a giver, then it's in her DNA to find a match for her who would be a heavy investor. It's not right or wrong, it's just how things are. A girl is programmed, not socially programmed, but biologically programmed, spiritually programmed to open up to that person who would give the most to her, who would give the most emotionally, who would give the most physically, who would give the most out of everything he has. It's the duty of a man to be generative. It's the duty of a man to be generous. Because see, men have strong sexual drives. Sexual energy builds up in a man, and it has to be put into something. Whether it be a work of art, whether it be a grand project, an architectural project, whether it be the relationship of loving a woman, or it can be all these things. But the bottom line is, you have to become the kind of man who wants nothing else than to give your whole relationship, your whole energy devoted to a relationship to one particular woman. Now, I know New Agey currents say that you should love as many women as you like, and open relationships are promoted, and I'm not saying that's wrong. But for me, that's only a phase in development. When you begin to move from a low energy system, or even from a medium energy system to a high energy system, you will find you have lots of spare energy. And being rather immature, you will not know what to do with that energy. And the first thing that comes to mind is, okay, I'm not only gonna have one relationship, I'm gonna have many relationships. That's the easy thing to do. The harder thing to do is to reconnect with yourself and find out that in your heart of hearts, you will someday be a father, and you will want to give it all to your daughter. I don't care how frivolous you are. If you are a guy and if you plan on having children, if you have a little girl, when you will hold her in your arms like this, she will be daddy's little girl, and you will want to give the whole world to her, and she expects nothing else, not from you, and she will expect nothing else from her husband or from her mate. And if you are a woman, listen up, demand more. It's okay to demand more. Of course, you have to be the kind of woman that is indeed worthy of that, but you don't have to keep him interested. It's the guy's duty to be interested. It's your duty to be an interesting person, and you can do that by being yourself. You can do that by investing in yourself. You don't have to prove all the time to him how much you love him. No, you don't. You have to be interested in what you're interested and let him show his love to you. Of course, reward him. Of course, show your love to him. But don't consider it your primary duty. Your primary duty as a woman is to take care of yourself. And his primary duty as a man is also to take care of himself. But with his excess energy, he has to devote all of that to you. If he doesn't do it, no problem. There are plenty good men out there who will. You just have to not settle for second best. And this will teach men to be more mature in loving you. I'm sorry. Let people be for open relationships. I'm not opposed to them. I'm just saying, real men will indeed want, from their deepest hearts, monogamous relationships. They will want you to be their one and only woman. They will. I'll see you again next time.